The electric dirt bike market has been dominated by big names for years, but a new contender has entered the arena with a price tag that's turning heads. The AIPAS S1 Amp dirt bike positions itself as a high-powered, budget-friendly beast designed to make off-road thrills accessible to everyone. Here's a breakdown of what makes the AIPAS S1 Amp a unique entry in the e-moto space, along with what you can expect before you buy. At a sale price of under $1,300, the S1 Amp is significantly cheaper than the $4,400 alternatives from competitors. Usually a price drop that steep means sacrificing power, but AIPAS kept the specs impressively high. Make no mistake, the S1 Amp is a full-fledged electric dirt bike. The heart of the S1 Amp is its 4,000 watt mid-drive brushless motor. It features a triple mode drive system, Eco Sport and Turbo. In turbo mode, this bike, the S1 Amp, boasts a wild 255 Newton meters of torque, which is plenty of power for popping wheelies or climbing 70-degree slopes. You haven't tried the wheelies yet, but I can verify that turbo torque is sick. S1 Amp is marketed with a top speed of 50 miles per hour. I hit about 45 and pulled back on the throttle. I'm way too old for that kind of craziness. Powering the motor is a 60-volt, 28 amp hour removable battery, and AIPAS claims a range of up to 60 miles on a single charge. But in real-world off-road conditions, you might expect 30 to 40 miles between charges, which is standard and totally acceptable for this class. The removable battery is a huge plus, allowing you to charge the battery indoors without hauling the entire bike through the kitchen. Or if you're a serious rider, buy a second battery and keep it on standby. Weighing in at a whopping 127 pounds and supporting riders up to 350 pounds, the AIPAS S1 Amp is a heavyweight contender. The S1 Amp uses a mullet wheel setup with a 14-inch front and a 12-inch rear wheel wrapped in knobby all-terrain tires. The smaller wheel size gives it a pit bike feel. It's nimble, punchy, and easy to throw around corners. It's IP65, which means it's completely sealed against dirt, sand, and dust inside the motor or battery casing, and can handle rain, splashing through puddles and being washed down with a garden hose carefully, but it is not waterproof, so don't think about riding it through river crossings where the motor or battery would be submerged underwater. That'd be no bueno. It comes equipped with a dual crown hydraulic front fork with 23.6 inches of travel and a center mounted rear shock designed to absorb jumps and rough trails. Basically, you're traveling on butter. Stopping power is handled by the dual-piston hydraulic disc brakes. Given the bike's speed capabilities, hydraulic brakes are a must, and it's good to see them included here. All right, now for the reality check. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the AIPAS S1 Amp. Based on my personal feedback and the specs provided, here's my honest verdict. The pros. You're going to struggle to find another 4,000 watt mid-drive electric dirt bike at this price. The high torque makes it an absolute wheelie monster and a blast on dirt trails. And it comes stock with a powerful 2,000 lumen headlight and turn signals, features often sold as expensive upgrades on some other bikes. Now the cons. The stock seat. Functional, but a little stiff. You might want to look into an aftermarket cover or a replacement for really long rides. Plus, if you're 5'9" or taller like me, you'll probably need to squeeze your legs around this bad boy. But I gotta tell you, it's totally worth it. The AIPAS S1 Amp is perfect for any budget-conscious enthusiast who likes mud and wants an electric dirt bike experience without the $4,400 Surron price tag. It's an incredible entry point into the world of electric dirt bikes. The raw power and fun factor makes the AIPAS S1 Amp a steal at this price. Shoot, you could buy 3 of these for the price of 1 Surron and still have beer money. Give it a shot. I think you're going to love it. Assembling the Amp S1. This is a little different than assembling your typical electric bike because there's a lot more power. And to be frank, it's pretty heavy. I mean, this thing's like 127 pounds, where the average electric bike is somewhere between 70 and 90. So, yeah, you're not going to deadlift this out of here unless you're like a power lifter. So tilt it on the side and then slide it out like a human being. Just make sure you don't scratch it when you lift it out. You'll see your front wheel is hanging out here. And it's amazing they got all this in this small box, which is part of the price deal. They're able to get this in this box, which dramatically decreases the shipping costs, which makes this bike completely affordable. So we've got it out here, all the fun stuff out of the box.
your charger, and they give you some nice perks too, your little eye goggles too, and some leg protectors, and the tool kit, all the tools you'll need to assemble this thing, and a few other perks, so that's really nice too. The first thing you're going to do is take all the schmutz off, all the packing material. So you need some wire clippers or scissors, some heavy duty scissors to take all that stuff off. Packed very, very well, no scratches, dings, dents, bent forks or anything. This was amazing, so they did a great job. Now, the instruction manual, it leaves a little bit to be desired. So the first thing I want to do is, hey, I'm going to ride this thing. You know, it looks like it's fun, just not even put together yet. So I took the charger out and I charged the battery as I was assembling this. And this, you can do that. Just be careful not to pull the cable out or crimp it or anything. So I just plugged it in while I was assembling things, put it on the front wheel. There's not a whole lot to do, and it's mostly assembled out of the box. You'll see the red light to indicate that it is charging, and that is great. It's a big, hefty battery, so it's going to take a little longer to charge from a dead, like a zero charge, but there was some charge on it from the factory. So first thing we're going to do is put our handlebars on. We've got 2 bolts that are actually in the handlebars, so don't go looking for them. They're already in the handlebars. You can just unscrew those. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And you'll see the display hanging off there too, so be careful not to scratch that up. There is a protective film on it, so that's cool. And you'll see in the book there's 2 places to drop it. The brakes are kind of loose on this one anyway, so you're going to screw these in, actually bolt them in from the bottom. And it's a little tricky to get there. You might have to go underneath it to kind of get a good view of it so you know where you're putting it. I tried to do it here blind, and I think I got one of them in, but I had to go underneath it and look for the other one. No big deal. Make sure these guys are tight because obviously you don't want your handlebars falling off when you're riding those mud trails and taking them 50-foot jumps. You know what I'm talking about? All right, don't do 50-foot jumps. That's up to you, man. Your mileage may vary. All right, so once you've got those 2 screwed in, you're going to put your display in. This is going to tell you everything about your controller, your speed, your miles, what mode you're in, if you're in turbo mode, because you don't want to be in turbo mode if you're not ready for turbo mode, because this thing will lift and do a wheelie for miles. It's crazy how much torque is in this bike. And also there is a bolt under here. You're going to find 3 bolts, and you're going to take these off to put the front fender on. This is probably it's probably the easiest fender installation or assembly I've ever done, because it's just 3 bolts and I didn't have to play with the headlight. The headlight goes on later. So this just, you match these 3 holes up here. There's additional holes there. Just ignore them. You'll see the 3 that fit in there. And you're probably going to have to get down on the ground on your back to get to these. I could not see these blind. I think I got 1 in there to hold it into place, but to see the other 2, I had to get on the ground and do a little bolting underneath. You know what I mean? So that's probably the toughest part. If you do have a rack, it's going to be a little bit easier, but it's going to be hard to get this 127-pound monster up there. But it can be done, you know. You have a hydraulic lift, you can get it up there. And there I am on the ground, and bolt those 3 in there. Get those nice and tight too, because this is going to protect all the dirt and mud and water and whatever from coming in your face. You realize how important fenders are until you actually go mudding. Now the front wheel's going to go on. You're going to see 2 spacers. The longer one's going to go where the brake is. You'll see an indent in the wheel, and this is lined up especially to fit in this hydraulic brake. And it's got dual pistons in it. I mean, this is like a motorcycle brake, set of brakes here. So you're going to take that front. This is actually your axle, so don't throw this away. On a lot of electric bikes, it's just a spacer, but this is actually the axle. Remember, the longer spacer is going to go towards the brakes, as you'll see the indent in the front wheel, and that will slide right in there, and then it's going to be completely lined up here. There is a protector in the brake, in the caliper, so you're going to roll that directly in the middle there. Mine was actually mashed together. The pistons were actually all the way out, so I had to take a screwdriver and go in and push the pistons in. But no big deal. Got those spaced out. Just push them in. One little thin screwdriver, and it opens it right up to exactly where it needs to be. And I didn't need to do any adjustments. Now, this front axle was a little tight. Took a little bit of effort to get that through, and you get that through the other side, and you have to put the spacers in there. Don't forget to put those spacers in there as well. And you're going to put your front axle all the way through the longer spacer near the brakes, and then the shorter one on the other side. And yeah, it took a little convincing to get that guy through there. And I finally got it through, and then you put your lock nut on the other side. So that is done, and she's not going anywhere once you tighten this up. Make sure this is pretty tight. And you probably want to check this every couple of rides, especially if you're doing a lot of jumps and a lot of bumpy dirt terrain. Make sure that that does not come loose, because all bolts can work themselves loose no matter what you do to them. So make sure that's pretty tight. And you'll see the wheels lined up great. It was on point. It was completely round. It was a free spin. Here is the hydraulic brakes with the dual pistons. It's ready to go. Next thing is your rear shock, connecting that to the frame. And this, again, was a little tricky because the bolt has to go in from the far side where the chain is, and there's not a lot of room to work back there. So you kind of got to lift this guy up. This is much better if you have two people. I only doing this by myself, so it was a little tricky. And you want to get that lined up. Don't pinch your fingers in there. That is a definite possibility. You want to line that hole up there and then put the bolt in from the back side. See, this is tricky, but you can get it in there, and then I had to screw it in and kind of coax this one in there too, but you want that to be tight because you don't want this to come apart either. I had to take my wrench and just start screwing that in and to get it in all the way through. So that is in there nice and tight as well. And this took a few tries to get that done. And then the washer, and then your lock nut on the side to lock that in. And boom, your rear suspension is successfully installed. I want to test it out. Obviously, I did this after I took it in on a mud ride, but I want to show you the suspension, the front and rear suspension. This thing is impressive. It's like riding on butter. They did a great job with the suspension, and you'll see this too when you take your first ride. All right, the front headlight is 2,000 lumens. Thing's bright as a motorcycle headlight. And that kind of goes on the front here and hides all those cables behind it. And you'll see there is a loose cable with an orange end on it. Before you mount this on there with the one bolt, it's got one bolt and two little things on the bottom you kind of pop in there. And but before you mount this on here, you definitely want to plug that orange cable in for your headlight. Otherwise, you won't be able to get to it. It's going to be hard to get to, and you don't want to hide that back there because you do want a headlight in the event you're going to do some dusk or even night riding, which a lot of people do in Alabama. It's kind of a thing here. People go out and meet for these night dirt bike rides. That would scare the bejesus out of me, but people do it here, and they have a great time doing it. It's like a culture. So, yeah, that's a little tough to put in, too. Those wires are, there's a bunch of them back there, and this kind of sits in front of them. You see my orange cables there? So I don't want to tighten this guy up before I plug that orange cable in. And fortunately, I did not. I kind of saw it there, and I'm like, all right, let me plug this guy in. This is my headlight. And you'll see two little tiny arrows, and just match the heads of those arrows up, and it'll slide right in. Be careful, you don't want to bend those pins because you're going to have to straighten them out. And then the bolt goes right in there and tighten it up again. All these tools, this Allen wrench is included, and make sure that's on there pretty tight. And my brakes are loose. I'm going to have to adjust not the brakes themselves, but the clamp that holds the brake on the handlebar. Those were loose. And I was able to get everything in just the right position, right where I wanted them, and then I was able to tighten all these up. You do need the key to start this thing, so that needs to be accessible, so don't hide that. And the brake may occlude part of the back of that too. So there it is, fully assembled. And I mean, it looks kind of mean, doesn't it? Considering the wheels are small. Don't let that fool you. This thing has a ton of power. It has turn signals too, which is very interesting. You can even put a license plate in some places, maybe even make this street legal. I don't know if the tires would qualify, but nonetheless, it has a lot of nice features that are included out of the box. Brake lights, the headlight, the turn signals, all that stuff's included. To turn it on, you flip this little battery switch on, and you turn the key, and she is ready to go. Don't hit that throttle without holding on the brake, because she's going to take off. So this is how you change the mode. The 3 modes. You start with the slowest one all the way up to turbo mode in 3, and that thing does take off. It will chop some dirt. It'll shred a little bit, man. So I wanted to take it for a ride. Listen to this thing. It's loud. So I didn't really intend to go mudding, but it's been raining for like a week. Apparently it does that here in Alabama. I come from Florida where it's sunny half the year, but here it's like rainy all winter. And there's this open lot behind me, and I just want to take it for a quick little test ride. I'm going to take it on a dirt track next week, and I'll follow up with another video. On the street here, I got it into level 2. I got up to about 30 some miles an hour before I backed off. The fastest I had this thing was 45. And I'll tell you what, 45 is pretty scary on a dirt bike, man, on your streets here. Because fortunately, the hydraulic brakes work great. It stops on a dime. They feel really good. I feel really confident in this bike. And I will take it up to 50. And I'll show you that in a future video too. But yeah, this is a heck of a bike. It's a great buy. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Oh, to remove the battery, you can remove the battery. You just take the plug out here. This is the power cord. And then there's 3 bolts you need to remove with an Allen wrench. So it's not real easy to do. You have to intend it, and you need to bring a tool if you're going to swap it out there. So you take these 3 bolts off, and they're in there pretty tight, and you slide it out, and the battery's pretty heavy, so you can charge it indoors if you need to. And you can see I've got a little mud on there. Fortunately, it is mud and dust resistant. But again, don't take it through. You don't be fording any lakes or rivers or anything because it is not waterproof.
Final verdict, buy this bike. Heck, buy 3 of them for the price of 1 Surron. I've been riding around the neighborhood, and not just the kids are staring at me, but the adults have taken rides on this thing. This thing is a blast. It's so much fun. It's so fast. It's so powerful, and it's so capable. Considering the size of the wheels, I didn't have much faith that it was going to be able to ride like a regular dirt bike, but I'm telling you what, this thing has some pull, it's got some torque, and it's a ton of fun. 2 thumbs up, man. This is a heck of a bike, and it's an amazing deal.